Good morning. Today we're in Exodus 38, 39, and 40. Be finishing the book of Exodus. And Exodus 38. And he made the altar a burnt offering of shittim wood. 5 cubits was the length thereof, and 5 cubits the breadth thereof. It was 4 square, and 3 cubits the height thereof. And he made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it, and the horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And he made all the vessels of the altar, the pots and the shovels and the basins and the flesh hooks and the fire pans and the vessels thereof made he brass. And he made for an altar a brazen gate of network under the compass thereof beneath unto the midst of it. And he cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass to be placed for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with brass. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the altars to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards, and he made the laver of brass, and the foot of it brass, and the looking glasses of the women assembling, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And he made the court on the south side southward. The hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, their brazen sockets 20. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were silver. And for the north side the hangings were 100 cubits, and the pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. For the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side eastward 50 cubits. The hanging of one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, their sockets 3, and for the other side of the court gate on the hand that were the hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars and their sockets 3. All the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen. And the sockets for the pillars of brass, there were hooks of pillars and their fillets of silver, and their overlaying of the chapiters of silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And 20 cubits was the length, and the height, and the breadth was 5 cubits answerable to the hangings of the court. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and their overlaying of their chapters, and the fillets of silver, and all the pins of the tabernacle and of the court round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, even of the tabernacle of the testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites, by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron the priest. And Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, and the tribe of Judah, made all that the Lord commanded Moses. And with him was Aholiab, the son of Shikemuk, and the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning worker, and an embroiderer in blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen. All the gold that was occupied for the work, and all the work of the holy place, even unto the gold of the offering, was 29 talents, and 730 shekels, and after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered in the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,760 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah for every man, that is half a shekel, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for every one that went to be numbered, from 20 years old and upward, for 600,000 and 3,550 men. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary and the sockets of the veil, 100 sockets of the 100 talents, a talent for the socket. And of the 1,750 shekels made he hooks for the pillars, and overlaid their chapters, and filleted them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels, and therewith he made the sockets to the door of the tabernacle, all of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Exodus 39, and of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, and work it into blue, and into the purple, and the scarlet, and the fine twined linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple together. By the 2 edges it was coupled together, and the curious girdle of his ephod was upon it. It was of the same, according to the work thereof. of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stones, enclosed in ouches of gold, graven as signets, or graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of ephod, and they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of an ephod, in gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. It was foursquare that they made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was a sardius, a topaz, a carbuncle, and this was the first row. And the second row an emerald, a sapphire, a diamond, and the third row a ligure, and agate, amethyst, and the fourth row a beryl, and onyx, and jasper, and they were enclosed in ouches of gold in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with his name according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the end, and wreathen work of pure gold, that they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 rings, and put the 2 rings in the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings on the end of the breastplate. And the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened in 2 ouches, and they put them on shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on 2 ends of the breastplate, upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath, toward the forepart of it, and over against the coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings, and the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loose from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod of woven work all of blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe as a hole of a habergeon, with a band round about the hole, and it should not rent. And they made up the hems of the robe, pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, around about between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, round about the hem the robe to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches and fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen in blue and purple and scarlet, and needlework, as the Lord commanded. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like unto the gravings of a cynic, holiness to the Lord. And they tied it to a lace of blue, and fastened it upon the mitre, as the Lord commanded Moses. This was the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation finished. And the children of Israel did accordingly to all that Moses commanded, all that the Lord commanded Moses. So they did. And they brought the tabernacle into Moses, the tent, and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, his sockets, and the covering of ram's skin dyed red, and the covering of badger skin, and the veil of the covering, and the ark of the testimony, the staves thereof, the mercy seat, the table, the vessels thereof, and the showbread, the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the lavender of his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, his sockets, the hanging for the court gate, his cords, his pins, all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation. The cloths of service do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, his son's garment to minister in the priest office, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all of the work. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded, even so they had done it, and Moses blessed them. Chapter 40. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, On the first day of the month shalt thou set up a tabernacle of the tent in the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with a veil, and thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it, and thou shalt bring in the candlestick and the light lamps thereof, and thou shalt set an altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set an altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. Thou shalt set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. Thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil and anoint the table and all that is therein, and thou shalt hallow it, and thou shalt vessels thereof, and they shall be holy. And after thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering and his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. Thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water, and they shall be put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. And thou shalt bring his sons, and clothe them with the coats. And thou shalt anoint them, and as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the priest office, for their anointing shall be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. Thus did Moses, according to all that the Lord commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass in the first month of the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up. And Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened his sockets, and set the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up his pillars. And he spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above it, as the Lord commanded. And he took and put the testimony into the ark, and set the staves of the ark, and put the mercy seat above the ark. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the testimony, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he put the table in the tent congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil. And he set bread in order upon it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the table or tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. He put an golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil, and he burned sweet incense thereon, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set up the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, and he put the altar of burnt offering by the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And Moses and Aaron his sons washed their hands and their feet thereat. And when they went into the tent of the congregation, when they came near unto the altar, they washed as the Lord commanded Moses. And he reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. Then a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, because the clouds abode thereon, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and the fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel, throughout all of their journeys.